Here we are for Chapter 18, the final chapter in the class. We're going to talk about public relations, influencer marketing, and corporate advertising. So, as you know, public relations is part of the promotion mix and in the communications mix. And influencer marketing and corporate advertising is as well. So, we're going to go through and talk about those things. So, here we go. Framework, Part 5, public relations, use of public relations, use of influencer marketing, and corporate advertising. Okay, so here we go. Take a look. How well does Gatorade integrate public relations? So public relations, just as a reminder, is we're going to talk a little bit about it again, but when we're talking in Marketing 1 about the macro and the micro environment, the publics, quote unquote publics, are part of the micro environment, and they include groups such as the media, finance, internal groups, your employees, stockholders, community groups, citizen action groups, that kind of thing. So here we go, integrated brand promotion with Gatorade engages sports fans through the Super Bowl by highlighting the ritual dunking of the winning coach and offering a Snapchat lens for consumers to virtually dunk themselves. So they can have that same experience, quote unquote, virtual experience. So just a kind of a fun thing they do. Okay, so public relations is the point. The whole point of public relations is to make nice with all the public, so when things go bad, they're on your side. So it fosters goodwill between a firm and its many constituent groups or publics, and digital media really enhances our ability to do public relations and participate in public relations. Public relations is a part of advertising. The big difference is that public relations is technically not paid for, and advertising is. So you want to kind of monitor the buzz of what's going on, see what's going on, what key consumers are saying, do any kind of damage control, crisis communication. These are some examples, some groups that have had to participate in crisis communication. Nike with the Live Strong, and Chipotle when they're having other problems with food poisoning for their customers. And that you always have to have a plan for the bad news. And every company at some point is going to have to face bad news in the press. So there is a quote unquote new era in public relations, and it's this idea of there's new idea of brand conversations with people via blogs and vlogs and Snapchat, Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all the different social media platforms. And it offers yet another way to tell the story. So there's word of mouth and electronic word of mouth, and then damage control for brands. There's also the idea of viral marketing is digital word of mouth. So again, the goals of public relations are to promote goodwill, and you want to promote a product or service, internal communications, negative publicity, lobbying, working with legislative branches to try to get laws passed that favor your company or industry, and also giving advice or counsel to people. So here we go. Here's a PSA. The Ad Council's Love Has No Labels, promoting inclusion of diversity, African American woman and a white man, and that's just the idea of accepting all people. A PSA, public service announcement. So public service announcement, press releases are also part of public relations tools. There are a variety of other ones too. So you can tweet. Twitter is a great platform. You can tweet the press release. You can put it on your on your Facebook page. You can do it, that kind of thing. Okay, so feature stories also in journals or publications, newsletters, interviews and press conferences, sponsored events, which we talked about last time, and publicity, any kind of free media exposure, articles in newspapers, spots on television, talk shows, that kind of thing. So here are just some examples of corporate social responsibility. The United Nations has some important goals for our future. So here they talk a lot about health and consumption, and it's responsibility to promote these things, so the UN to promote those things. So proactive public relations is the best method. It's part of the marketing plan, and it's to quote unquote head things off at the pass. You want to build goodwill, and then reactive is usually oftentimes with a crisis communication or coming up with some sort of defense if some things have gone bad. So here we go, Pepsi and PR. So this is a Kendall Jenner there's a dust up a couple years ago with Kendall Jenner and at a protest giving Pepsi. People thought it was offensive, sort of belittling people's right of speech. So oftentimes they'll go through a public relations audit, not too different from a financial audit, just to make sure that things are, that it's a worthwhile campaign. And again, it's the public relations plan is no different than the marketing plan, the communications plan, situation analysis, determine what your objectives are, why you're doing it, what communications you're going to be using, and what your message is going to be, what your big idea is. So the audit gives you information about information to issue public statements, see based on what's going on at the time, current and accurate data, and then also understanding perhaps where your vulnerabilities are, where you might need a little bit of extra help, where you might be exposed. So PR really has changed quite a bit. It's not really what it was traditionally. And again, as we've talked about with so many other things, it's because of the increase of digitization, 24-hour news cycle, and people seem, the word spreads so much more quickly. There's not as much control over the information about your business, about your company that we used to have. A tremendous amount of misinformation or disinformation, and public relations really aims to combat all that. All right, so the next thing we'll talk about is influencer marketing. That's the idea of there's people who are through special skills or ability or likability are promote products. So, credibility is a really important part of it. Also, capability or some sort of expertise in an area. Influencers are, you see them all over social media, Twitter, Instagram. So here we go with an example of having a key influencers, again, Sleep Number beds. The therapist talked about a therapist giving advice about it. Peer-to-peer influencer programs, so word of mouth or buzz marketing. Again, people giving influencers something to talk about and create the buzz. Viral marketing, just the idea of word of mouth marketing. Consumer to consumer. And then the whole deal is to try to figure out who those connectors are, identify them, and reach out to them. So the 5 key T's to generate buzz: people who talk, who are predisposed to talk about brands in general. Topics, make sure that that's a good story or breaking news. Tools should be linkable, portable, and should travel across the internet so that you can see them on a variety of different platforms. That they would be a part of the conversation, and that you are able to measure the outcomes. So here we go. Again, one you can't see. Vocal Point gets influencers buzzing about brands by offering free samples and invitations to special events. It's another nice example. And then, again, another example of Dove. Real Beauty. The Dove Real Beauty. Okay, and then the third thing we're going to talk about is corporate advertising. Again, aims to establish favorable attitude towards a company as a whole. So, Procter & Gamble or Nike or Under Armour, whatever it may be. So you want to build the brand image. It also helps to boost employee morale and attracts new employees, the ones you're looking for. Talks about the organization views, positions the firm's products against the competition, plays a big role in integrated brand promotion. The idea of corporate advertising is getting across the corporation to the brand's personality and being able to make that relatable to people. So here we go. BNSF Railroad corporate ad on public television to demonstrate its support and to remind viewers of its historic role in connecting the nation for economic development. Corporate branding. Here we go. And again, here is the for Apple, Think Different slogan. Again, looking at people who have thought differently. So there's corporate image advertising, so the overall image, and then advocacy advertising. So what are people's positions on important social issues? It's meant to influence public opinion and garner enthusiasm and support for your brand if you think the same way. Cause-related advertising, a firm's affiliation with a social or societal cause. Any kind, human rights causes or diversity or minority rights, that kind of thing. And then green marketing is this idea of supporting the environment and sustainability, which again, super hot topic in marketing and advertising today. So here we go, example of green marketing for Starbucks. Here we go, Mattel, support for dads playing with their kids. Dads Who Play Barbie campaign. This idea of the changing role of fathers in children's lives. The perceived changing role. And then finally, LK. So firms often use corporate advertising as a way to generate name recognition and a positive image for them. So here we go, LK is touting the company name rather than any specific product that it sells. It's showing you some of the products, but it's looking at it more as a brand in general. Okay, so that's it. A quick look at public relations, influencer marketing, and corporate advertising. And that's a wrap on the class. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned some stuff. Okay.